college wrestling is back on Iowa PBS.
Hello, everyone.
Join me, Tim Johnson, along with Wartburg coaching legend Jim Miller for 5 weeks of exciting college duels on your statewide network and online at iowapbs.org. Our next matchup features the University of Nebraska Kearney taking on Grandview University in Des Moines. Let's go. Thursday night at 7 on Iowa PBS.
Murph and Andy, proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru and BMW of Des Moines. Live and on demand across Iowa everywhere. From the Channel Seed Studios. This is Murph and Andy. Murph and Andy. Connected by Cellular Advantage.
Let's do it. It is Murph and Andy here on Iowa Everywhere alongside Andy Fales and Andrew Downs. I'm Keith Murphy, and just more proof that this show is highbrow. We're joined by IPTV. I mean, you think PBS, you think Murph and Andy.
You're going to think that for a little while here as they're putting all this college wrestling on the air, but that's good. Program like Grandview needs that coverage. Those athletes work really hard. A bunch of the small schools around Iowa that wrestle going to be on IPTV for the next 5 weeks.
And IPTV does a really nice job with all the sports that they put on. So
they do.
Looking forward to that. Happy birthday, Andy.
Yay. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate that.
Actual day, right now.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is so typical for my birthday. Really cold. Everybody's still wiped out from the holidays, and they're just kind of like, another celebration? Can I just send you a text message? And that's one of the things I forgot last night as I was doing What's Bugging Andy on WHO 13 on Sound Off. I was listing the things, that have just kind of changed over the years with, your birthday. The text messages that pour in, and, you leave your phone for a little while, as I do, and you pick it up, and there's just all these text messages. And I feel like I got to answer those people back. And then I do. And then I realized that a bunch of those people I have not communicated with since my birthday last year.
Jeez.
And that includes their birthday, where I did not send them a text message. And then I'm immediately just like, oh, God, I got to change this. But clearly I haven't. And there's a track record of that. You can see. But later on today, I'm going to get some calls from old friends and my mom and my brother, who also shares this birthday. And that'll be really, really, really great. And I've also had a chance to kind of look through some old photos and find birthdays past. I found one that I sent to Andrew when Eddie was 1. And Kahala brought them, Eddie and Elin, to the newsroom. And Eddie toddled across the room with a bunch of balloons for me and took a picture. So that would have been
That's
10 years ago that this was taken. There I am at my old desk there.
I think I've seen you in that shirt this week, though, that plaid shirt.
I probably have all of those clothes still. And clearly my glasses, my taste in glasses have not changed.
Not much. You don't look a lot different.
The prescription has changed, I'll tell you that much. But the taste in glasses has not. But it is fun. I went and had a good workout at Farrell's. And here's the one thing that I don't get. The people that use your birthday as a cudgel. We talked about this last night.
Cudgel. Remind me what cudgel means.
Oh, it's just a big hammer to just hammer you with, just as a weapon.
Remind you of your mortality.
Yeah, we want to point out how old you're getting.
You're closer to dying.
Yeah, that's what they're saying is that, hey, you're going to die pretty soon.
Most of your life is over?
That's true. It's absolutely. I'm not middle-aged. I am past middle age. But when you can think back to like when your friends would celebrate your birthday by punching you in the arm 10 times. Remember that?
I do.
And they'd be like, oh, yeah, you get 10 licks because you're 10 years old. When did that start? Who started that tradition?
Sadist.
It's continued. I went to Farrell's today and they
punched in the arm 10 times.
No, but they made everybody do push-ups, but I was slick. told everybody I was 29 again. And so we were all just having to do repeatedly like 29 push-ups and 29 sit-ups and stuff like that. So I really took one for the team, saved the whole class. But yeah, I mean, they want to use that, they use it against you.
How about this? Speaking of age, we were either or a couple of weeks ago. I know. Shocking.
It's been that long.
So the guy who was waiting on us, really nice guy. He comes up. We order a couple of drinks, and he IDs Jenny. Now Jenny's in her mid-50s. Clearly, she looks young for her age, but nobody's going to mistake her for 20 years old, and she knows that. But then you got to give me the courtesy. If you're going to ask somebody who's mid-50s, 55, you got to ask me. Didn't ask me. It just puts me in a tough spot.
Andrew Judy gets ID'd, right? I mean, she gets ID'd pretty regularly.
Yeah,
but then they got to ask you too.
If I have the hat on, sometimes. If I don't have the hat on, I will never get asked.
I mean, we're under no illusions that somebody's thinking like, I wonder if these two are 21.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a slick move, though, for a server, though, right? I mean, they do that.
Flattery?
I mean, yeah.
He did get like a 35% tip.
Yeah, you look so young. I think you might actually be 33 years younger than you actually are. And yeah, who's gonna fault him for that?
Are you here with your dad?
This guy paid me the best compliment in the world. What? He carded me.
Yeah, pretty smart. All right. Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines sets the table for sports and more here on a Murph and Andy Monday. Coming up, Cyclone history, Clark Stalker, a disturbing story, and the NFL goes wild. Guest House Tavern, Northwest inspired, Midwestern hospitality. Now high or low since our last show.
Presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Them at wealthcharterretirement.com. Ask for Tim Hawkins. Tell him we sent you and say, hey, man, help me get my finances all set for the new year. They do taxes as well, but of course, retirement planning is at the top of that nameplate. I'm going to go high here. Yeah, it's my birthday, and my wife is so good at birthdays. She really is.
She's really good at everything.
She is. She's so good at, just decorating everything. And she's amazing at making birthday cakes.
Oh, the Kahala cake.
Yeah. That amaretto cake that that you guys like. Yeah. And then she goes all out making these cakes. And I'm not a huge birthday cake guy. I never really have been, but the kids are living for that birthday cake.
Kids love a birthday cake.
Eddie, it's always so funny. He's 11 now, but he has always been a connoisseur of birthday parties and still is. I think he may never outgrow that either. If there's a birthday party going down, he wants to be there.
He could do a podcast on birthdays one day.
He could. Yeah. I mean, he really takes them in. I mean, he's like a sommelier for birthday parties. I mean, he could tell you, like, he doesn't have to know the person. If it's a birthday party, he's down. He's there.
He'll go. Yeah.
So, and one of the big things that he's way into is cake, and they like scavenger hunts to find birthday presents, which is a hell of a lot of work. I mean, think about all that stuff. So, kudos to my awesome wife for being so good at that kind of stuff. And I don't know if she's going to make me a birthday dinner tonight or not, but she usually makes me a meatloaf. And it makes me love meatloaf so much. Meatloaf, mashed potatoes and gravy, and peas or green beans. I could eat that every day, I think. It makes me think of my dad, who really, I think he turned like maybe 12 or something. And then like from that point on, all he wanted for his birthday was Swiss steak. Have you ever had Swiss steak?
I have. It's been a long time.
Well, you chew it for a long time. I mean, at least the stuff my mom made, no offense, but I mean, it was not something that his kids shared in his love. I mean,
is that like Salisbury steak or something?
Yeah, it's like this like round steak that's pounded pretty thin, but then
is this also called cube steak, or is that a different steak?
I don't really. You'd have to ask the guys at Fairway. I don't know, but it's Swiss steak. It's got gravy and mushrooms and onions on it, and it has the consistency of like a snow tire tread,
Right.
where you have to.
You need a strong knife.
You need to sharpen your knife first and then try to tear into it. But anyway, yeah, my wife making for great birthdays is always a high.
Well, everyone should feel special on his birthday. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
My high is Jenny's work Christmas party, which was Friday, January
God.
10th.
Will you spare us this shit this year, please?
I'm
Andrew,
not gonna
can I
go
get a
overboard
second?
with it. No, I'm not going overboard with it.
No,
I
what do
promise.
you mean overboard?
How
Even
great it
mentioning
is.
it is
Yeah.
overboard.
Well, it's a nice,
The gifts are
small,
amazing.
local company, and they treat
All right,
their
An-
employees
An-
well.
Andrew,
They
let
expect a
Murph
lot,
go
but they
full
treat them
screen
well.
here. Just let him have the stage here. Give us every detail. Here we go. Keith Murphy, everybody. His wife's Christmas present or
I
Christmas.
wanted to talk directly
party.
to Andy on his birthday. Yeah, the Christmas party wasn't until January 10th, which is kind of an underrated move because that week or week surrounding Christmas, so busy. We all have so much to do. I mean, this is a couple of weeks out of Christmas. Went to Django, had a room there, had a really nice party. And I am kind of there to remind the employees how good they have it. Because like they don't know that these things don't, they're young. Most of them are in their 20s and 30s. And they think like all companies treat their employees the way these employees are treated. And of course, I know that's not true. So I'm kind of the guy, I'm like one of those, what are those vacuums that go Roomba? Is it called a Roomba?
A Roomba. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like a Roomba at the party. I go around just to spread the word that, don't take this for granted. This is not the way it is everywhere. I just Roomba around the party as, everything's paid for and as everybody's having a great time and as you're in this wonderful place. Like parties we used to go to 30, 35 years ago at our places of work, which no longer exist. So I'm there. I'm the party Roomba. I go around. So then it goes to an after party, and we go there. It's the Republic downtown. Upstairs
Yep.
there. So we're
the
there.
AC hotel there on the top floor. Yep.
And then I made one of my most mature decisions ever. They're going from there to another bar at midnight. Now this whole thing has started at 6, and
Yeah. Was this on a Friday or a Saturday again?
Friday
sorry.
night.
Friday
Friday
night.
night.
Okay. All right.
And I tell Jenny, I think we should go. And she, she's ready to keep going. All the employees want to keep going. And we left at a responsible hour. Well, kind of responsible. If you call midnight responsible. But the next day, a lot of the people she worked with were sending like the emoji with the wounded head.
Oh yeah, everybody hung over. Yeah.
Yeah, just the headache. But they're nice, they're smart. They give everybody a voucher for a Uber drive. So nobody was driving. Everybody, or you can stay downtown in a hotel on the company.
I think it's a universal truth that few good things happen when you upshift in drinking at or after midnight.
Upshift.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, Andrew, if you take it up a notch at that point in the night, I can't ever remember hearing anybody say, "Oh man, best decision I made last night was to start doing those tequila shots at 1 a.m."
And that was a great idea. I'm
Yeah.
so glad.
Thanks for that round.
Yeah.
I had been drinking beer and having some waters, and then I just decided, let's do some shots. That just really made the night better. And the rest of the week, no, we stayed away from that.
Yeah, we went to
Thank
Hessen
goodness.
House and whipped out the Das Boot at 12:30.
Man, am I glad we did that.
Nah,
Yeah,
that doesn't.
I think that's where you get the whole beer before liquor, never sicker rhyme. I mean, your blood doesn't know the difference between what alcohols you're drinking, but if you switch alcohol, sometimes it keeps you going. And next thing you know, you're in bad shape.
Yeah, I mean, but your body knows what your blood is packing is the problem.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
And honestly, what gets me more than anything now is mixing in wine. And I love red wine. I mean, if you
Me too.
go out to a really good meal and I want some red wine, but if I've been drinking a bunch before that and I'm going to add on a bunch later,
Red wine headache.
Ooh, that's what throws me into a tailspin.
Look out for that red wine headache. And thank you to all the people in the comments interacting on YouTube for noticing I still need that haircut. Yeah, I got to get to the barber, Andy. What's going on? I'm starting to have like a slanted head here. Yeah, well, it was a nice thing to do for Colin. You can also interact via email. It's Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. On X, it's Murph_Andy. It's all powered by our friends Doug Eklund and the whole crew at Cellular Advantage. They've proudly represented U.S. Cellular since 1993 with 35 regional locations. Now, let's get the buzz.
The Buzz. Brought to you by Logier Heating and Cooling.
All right, Logier Heating and Cooling, dedicated to providing heating and cooling solutions to Des Moines area families. Iowa State moves up to number 2, as we expected, in the AP poll. That is the Cyclone's highest ranking in program history. And Iowa State has had some good basketball teams, especially the last 50 years. But the previous number 3 was in the 1950s when the Rolling Rocket, Gary Thompson, and the Cyclones beat Wilt Chamberlain, and the Kansas Jayhawks moved up to number 3. And this year's team was number 3. Now this is the highest ranking in the history of Iowa State. Quite an accomplishment. And yet it's a good spot to be. 2 is a pretty big bullseye. Auburn gets the new gigantic bullseye at number 1.
And I don't think you'd have any Cyclone fans argue that they should be the number 1 team. And there aren't many one-loss teams left in the country. Iowa State's one of them. That was a really impressive win on Saturday. That was a game that Cyclone teams in the past would have lost. They might have lost bad in that game. I mean, that's a tough place to play. We can remember some embarrassing losses in Lubbock. It's a small gym that was full. Fans, this is a good team. They've had a good start. So the fans there are optimistic, even though it's not a ranked team.
They're loud, they're energetic, they're
really
into it.
Loud. And a lot of that noise is because of the target that's on Iowa State's back at the time of that game. I was really impressed with the way that game went down. And I'll just say in general, before we tear into the highlights here, that this was a lesson on the importance of free throws.
Yeah, there was a game last week. The Hawkeye women lost where they shot 47% from the free throw line. I mean, it's been around as long as basketball, and free throws have been around. It makes the difference in so many games and does go a little bit underrated. And in some ways, it seems in with some young people, free throw shooting has dropped off because that used to be what you would go and practice all the time. But now it's the 3-point shot. If you go into a gym, you will see the most players shooting 3-point shots on their own versus shooting free throws on their own. So you're right. That's an underrated thing to do, especially in a game like that where it is a tough road environment. You're down 13. Again, sign of a team with tremendous upside and championship potential. Iowa State did not have its A game again. That's not the best the Cyclones could play, but they have enough balance and depth to change up the lineup and to keep grinding and to keep finding something that might work. And there are a couple of clutch plays that were made down the stretch, like the Lipsy pass into Jefferson there in the final seconds to feel him there and get the ball to him and tie that up and send it into overtime. And then Andy, OT, kind of the same way, looked like Tech was moving away, and every time Iowa State would find a way to reel back in and then make those free throws.
In regulation, as Tech is coming down and trying to, hang on to a lead, it was two consecutive times they send a 90% plus free throw shooter to the line. The announcer points it out. He's a 92% free throw shooter. And they ended up missing, 3 of 4 there. Just would have been huge shot, would have made the difference in the game if they had made all of those shots. They end up getting that chance with the great Lipsy pass to Jefferson. He gets that shot away so quickly, really impressive that a big guy, clearly there's a little bit of a hesitation as he grabs the ball, takes the pass, and then goes up. It's a perfect hesitation, but it does take another couple of ticks off the clock. He goes up and is able to release that just in front of the buzzer. So then they go to overtime, and while Texas Tech just kind of melted under pressure at the free throw line, Jefferson, with the game riding on him, the fans loud as hell, he just smoothly goes up there and hits them all. It
was impressive.
That's a great game. You're watching that game and you come away and you're really not sure who had the best game. That lets you know you've got a really good team that played really well. I mean, it really looks like it's Curtis Jones, but then coming down the wire that way with Jefferson in those huge spots, maybe he had the best game. You're not sure. It doesn't matter. They get a really big win on the road, a win that many past Cyclone teams would not have been able to get.
Right. Keyshawn Gilbert didn't have his best game, but Curtis Jones, so good again off the bench. Doesn't really feel like he's a bench player. That play by Jefferson, I saw some Hawkeye fans in my Facebook comments were saying he traveled and wanted my opinion on that. I didn't think that at the time, and I haven't gone back and looked at it. I know he was like gathering the ball as he hopped toward the basket.
There.
There's a little hesitation there. I don't have an informed opinion on that. I just know it was an impressive play. They get it to overtime. Now they're number 2. And here comes Kansas to Hilton Coliseum coming up Wednesday night. And that's a 6 p.m. game, which is great for many people, those who can get there in time. But just 6 p.m., we love that in the local TV business because you can be live at 4 and 5, then the game starts at 6. You have plenty of time to gather up all the post-game interviews before the 10 p.m. news. And even though school, I don't think, has resumed yet, there are students camping out at Hilton
next
Coliseum.
Week, yeah. I think they got another
next
week
week.
off.
So these kids, it's going to be -6. It's going to feel like -6 tomorrow. And these students are in a tent, and WHO 13's Roger Riley went by and spoke to them.
The tent fell down at one point in the middle of the night, which wasn't too fun. We had to set the tent back up, but we've been able to fight the cold pretty well, so it hasn't been too bad.
We committed to it, and we knew we were going to do it. And there also is a good amount of students who do have tickets to this game. Pollard worked something out. He knew a lot of students would want to come, so I got one for free with my student pass.
There's those guys that generator. We've seen this for decades. It's cool. It's fun. I wouldn't want to do it. I would not want to do this at that age. It is going to be so cold the next couple of days. Whoa.
Yeah. Today and tomorrow, definitely. All right,
Yeah,
I'm getting called out for calling Texas Tech's gym small. What I mean is tight. You can feel it feels very intimate. The ceiling feels very low. It seems like you can see all the fans in the stands, and I am certain it is a loud arena and feels tight for the Cyclones or any visiting team that's there. And the point is, that's a tough place to win.
Well, the least I would expect from you, especially on your birthday, is to come in here with the attendance figures for all arenas in mind. Do your homework.
It's one of those arenas that's kind of strange because I feel like a lot of times in Hilton, they kind of darken the crowd a little bit, or they don't light it up the way that some other arenas do. So you can't quite tell the fans that are in attendance. But Texas Tech, and also the fact that they wear white so often, man, it feels like they are just all over the opposing team.
Remember when Bob Knight was coaching Texas Tech? That kind of seems like it didn't happen, but it did happen. We have a quickie poll from WCI Pools and Spas in Ames and Urbandale. It's inspired by a conversation on Two Guys, which if you missed today, the Chris Hassel, Chris Williams show here on Iowa Everywhere, you can certainly find it wherever you find podcasts, including YouTube. AD, what do we have?
If you could only have one for your basketball team, you would take a conference title. We're talking a regular season conference championship or a Final Four.
I thought this would be one-sided. I didn't think it would be this one-sided. I mean, the Big 12 is the best basketball conference in America. So let's say you're voting on this as a Cyclone fan or a Hawkeye fan. You can win the Big Ten, which when is the last time Iowa won a Big Ten championship? It's been decades.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been, what is that, 45 years? Okay, so it's been 45 years. For Iowa State, it's been 24 years. Won back-to-back Big 12 championships, regular season championships. That's really hard to do. But I'm not surprised because I think I'd pick the Final Four as well. That's the thing that has the juice.
This was a discussion on two guys? Like one of them was arguing in favor of the conference?
I don't think they were arguing.
title?
They were just talking. I think they were more framing it as the importance of winning, how impressive it is over a season. Like if you're in the Big 12 and you're the regular season conference champion, that's a tremendous accomplishment. And it shows what a great basketball team you have. Whereas, as we all know, the tournament is a little bit more of an arbitrary crapshoot. But I think any fan would take the Final Four over the regular season championship. Almost any fan.
I do too. I think, though, maybe this is part of the sentiment of the discussion, but when you have the Big 12 is such a deep, tough basketball conference this year, it almost does seem like a shame. We all know the crazy amount of weight that we put on the NCAA tournament, right? Doing well in that tournament. It seems like it's not right that you could win this Big 12 conference. Somebody's going to win it. But if that team goes and then doesn't make the Sweet 16, you had a bad season, right? I mean, even though you won by far the best basketball conference in the country, your judgment is still based almost solely on how you do in the NCAA basketball tournament. So that is something interesting. I mean, it just seems like
it is
winning the conference when in a case where you've got the Big 12 the way it is now, it seems like that should count for more.
And this is now going to happen to college football at the major level, at Division I. Like right now, ask a Georgia or Oregon fan how excited they are that they won the conference championship game. They don't care at all. I mean, Oregon fans didn't win a game in the tournament, and then Georgia lost, and they're out. They don't feel like the conference championship is that exciting. Or to go back, whatever it was, 15 years ago when Ali Farouk-Manesh hits that shot for UNI, UNI takes down the overall number 1 seed Kansas. Kansas won the Big 12 championship that year. That's probably a year that most Kansas fans would like to forget because of that one game and that balls out shot. Thank you for being with Murph and Andy here on a Monday. Next story here that came out today out of Fox 59, which is our sister affiliate in Indianapolis. Caitlin Clark had a stalker arrested, a 55-year-old Texas man. He was arrested on a felony stalking charge in Indianapolis yesterday. He sent threats. He allegedly, well, I guess they're saying, police are saying, but allegedly sent threats and sexually violent messages to Clark via social media, and that is according to court documents. The police records show that Michael Lewis of Denton, Texas, has been charged with a level 5 felony after being arrested at a hotel, scary stuff, in Indianapolis. He is scheduled to appear in court Tuesday morning. One of the comments, according to the court documents, Andy, quote, been driving around your house 3 times a day, but don't call the law just yet. I'm getting tickets. I'm sitting behind the bench. Read another message. This is the dark side of celebrity here, where somebody gets obsessed, and we've seen bad things happen, and this has to be taken seriously. And if all of these allegations are true, I hope they lock this guy up and lock him up for a long time.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a stalker or anything, does he? Jeez, that guy. The moment you put him up,
I've gone to his social media feed.
Yeah, something going on with him.
His social media feed it's a lot of Christ and Christian principles and quotes and stuff like that.
It's
It
total
doesn't
hypocrisy. And
it doesn't make you feel any better. Now, Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears says of Caitlin Clark, it takes a lot of courage for women to come forward in these cases, which is why many don't. In doing so, the victim is setting an example for all women who deserve to live and work in Indy without the threat of sexual violence. Lewis could face up to 6 years in prison and a $10,000 fine, which seems warranted for this kind of fear. I mean, he's in Indianapolis. He's sending these messages. This is scary stuff. And Caitlin Clark's parents, they worry about this kind of thing. Why wouldn't they? I mean, Caitlin Clark is now one of the biggest celebrities in the country, if not the world.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why, you remember a couple years ago, Iowa started assigning police escorts to her. And some people thought that was over the top. It wasn't over the top. They've had this worry for a long time. There are some people out there obsessed with her.
Yeah, well, and you worry just about the crowds that are around her all the time.
Sure.
These people are not minding their P's and Q's. That in and of itself can be dangerous. But then when you get these deranged men who, I mean, the rest, they're mentally ill. You can't figure out why they feel the way that they do, or why in the world they think that this would be acceptable or a good way to get the attention that you want. I mean, or how they could get away with it either. I mean, there isn't any use in trying to find logic in it, but it's a terrible part of celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
This happens. It happens all over the world to people of all ages. It's always awful. But I mean, if you just think of someone who, for whatever reason, has either they are in love with somebody, or they're angry at them, or they think that they could make a name for themselves by hurting someone. And there's really, at first at least, there's not a lot to stop them from doing that. Now at this point, there's no way Caitlin Clark is going to be unguarded physically or psychologically about this kind of thing. So I think this is, in some ways, this will be an alarm bell that will get her the protection that she needs in public places. But it's still just a shame that there are people like that out there.
It is. And I'm sure this isn't the only incident they've had. And, I've talked to her father about this before, just about just wanting to keep his daughter as safe as possible, as we would all want to do. And I've been around those fan mob scenes around Caitlin Clark numerous times, and 99.99% of the people, of course, just want to see her, have a photo taken, or get an autograph. Mm-hmm. But you do have to worry about that obsessed, deranged fan who has something else in mind. And good for her for coming forward and getting this guy off the street. And we'll hope that there's not another incident like this anytime soon. The Hawkeye women without Caitlin Clark fall out of the top 25 after a third straight loss. That's the first 3 losses in a row for an Iowa women's basketball team in 7 years. So it hadn't happened in a long time. This is not shocking. This is not surprising. You've lost the best basketball player in college basketball history, and a couple of other pieces, not to mention the head coach. This was always going to be an adjustment, but they started so well, the Hawkeyes did, that I think some people thought it was just going to stay the way it was. Mm. And it's not. The people who played with Caitlin Clark have to get used to no longer having her there. And then the people who didn't play with her have to mesh with these veterans, and they're having some growing pains. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and I'm not either. I mean, it's always a little surprising when it happens like this. It seems like it's more logical if they start out struggling and then regain their footing and get better as the season goes along. But sometimes it doesn't happen that way. Sometimes they start off just fine, then there's a hiccup, and then you got to sit there and be like, okay, can you get this ship right again? Same thing really happened with Drake. I mean, I think there were fans that were convinced they weren't going to lose all year long. But, if you have any respect for the conference that your team is in, you have to think that this could definitely happen. I mean, Indiana is a really big school that has a lot of good basketball players, and they can go on the road and win. How
many does their arena seat?
I don't want to enter into that again. It's a no-win situation. It's just, we got a bunch of emails at the TV station. I'm sure you read through some of those from.
I don't get the newsroom emails.
Oh God,
those get too crazy. I just get the ones directly to sports.
Well, there's a few in the sound off inbox. At least one good one where there's the know-it-all fans that saw it all along, and Jan Jensen clearly can't coach. Well, Jan Jensen is a new head coach
and did a lot of the coaching previously.
Yeah, but she's a new head coach. She hadn't done this job yet. She's still getting used to this job. So there's going to be stuff like this, and it's a good basketball conference. So, just pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, give it some time. Meantime, since losing, being embarrassed at Wisconsin, which I think AD did, is that already your favorite memory of this year? Just going
you making
worst
me go.
memory.
You making me go check the score of that game while at your house for the party.
You hate Wisconsin so much.
It ruined my night, Murph. I was having a
they
good
scored
night
116 on
nice.
Iowa.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. So
that's all right. He's only going to bring it up 5 or 6 more times, Andrew. You're almost done.
It's just the worst case scenario for you. But anyway, all right, so they score 116. They get called out by the players in the postgame as not wanting to play defense. And kind of a couple of things can happen there. You can quickly jump the rails and the season just goes down quickly. But Iowa's gone the other way. They've responded. They're playing better defense. They blew out Indiana. I mean, this was a rout and looked good doing it.
Yeah, they had a really good start. Really good game here. I don't know what the attendance was.
Yeah, how many is that seat?
In fact, I'm not exactly sure how many Carver Hawkeye Arena seats. See how dark it is, though, up there? Yeah. I can't tell if those seats are empty or full.
There were a lot of empty seats.
Empty.
It was a Saturday night game. It was on Fox.
Students don't go back there. I don't think they're – are they back next week? I mean, I know Iowa State, Drake are back next week. I would assume Iowa is too. It was a situation where you could hear the crowd getting into it. They were having fun watching this. And, another example of why – you can't just rush to judgment. And, many of us wanted to do that after that Wisconsin game. Oh, that's it. Andrew, I think I heard you say that's it. But he's an emotional fan.
Yeah, overreaction Monday.
Right. I mean, you do that. I mean, we do that as fans. But in reality, it's a long season.
Mike McCarthy is out as the Cowboys coach. This feels like it could have happened 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year. Jerry Jones wouldn't let McCarthy talk to the Bears, but then put him on the street 2 days later when they couldn't agree to whatever they were talking about. So he's out. And now I'd expect McCarthy might talk to the Bears. Andy, have you talked to the Bears? I think they've interviewed. Apparently they're interested in talking to everybody.
God, the Cowboys stick with coaches and quarterbacks way too long, don't they? Man, I mean, I don't like the opposite. And who can remember them being under anybody but Jerry Jones? Who was the last one? Who was it? Was it Hank Stram? Was he their old owner with Tom Landry?
Tom Landry was the coach. Hank Stram wasn't the owner of the Cowboys, was he?
Tex
Scram.
Tex, not Hank.
Tex. Yeah,
Tex.
Hank was the Chiefs coach.
There was a real rich guy down in Texas who went by Tex.
Yeah, they called
Was
him
it
Tex.
Shram? Tex Shram?
It's like the
That
Houston
sounds right.
franchise. Gosh, we need a nickname. Anybody got any ideas? I'm thinking Texans.
There was
Oh,
Houston.
brilliant.
He was from Detroit, and there was a guy named Tex, and I don't recall where he was from. So I mean, Jerry Jones has owned that team forever, and it always just seems like he feels like he knows something that everybody else doesn't, and he just sticks with these guys forever. I mean, Mike McCarthy, are there Cowboy fans who wanted him as long as he was there?
I think his family was ready for him to leave.
Or Tony Romo or Dak Prescott, for that matter?
Yeah, Dak Prescott, they signed to like $300 million, and yeah, good luck with that moving forward. Wild card weekend started out a lot like the college football playoff. Just a reminder that sometimes games aren't close. The Texans 32, the Chargers 12. I thought the Chargers were going to win this game. The Texans have been awful lately, and the Texans go out there and just put it on the Chargers. Didn't see that coming. Ravens
didn't see that coming, but
No.
yeah, the Texans.
and Herbert was bad. Ravens 28, Steelers 14.
I
Derrick
think you
Henry
called that. Yep.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson was incredible in this game. So is Derrick Henry. So the Steelers are out early again. Bills 31, Broncos 7. Broncos scored the first touchdown, never scored again.
Looked like it was going to be interesting there for a minute, then it wasn't.
Eagles 22, Packers 10. Packers probably have fans concerned about their quarterback's big game potential after that game. Jordan Love was bad. Eagles won comfortably. Last night on Sunday Night Football, the best game, really the only close game of the weekend, Commanders 23, Bucks 20. And here's the final kick on Commanders Radio.
Snap good, hold down, kick on it is good! The Cardiac Commanders are the Clutch Commanders! They do it again! We'll see you in Detroit! And Jay Gonzalez kicks in the door and kicks us into the second round of the playoffs!
Courtesy of Commanders Radio, understandably excited. Hard to believe, but going back to the Redskins days, it's been almost 20 years since Washington has won a playoff game, and the NFL is better when Washington is relevant. That's the 13th win of the season.
You say that, and it's been a really long time since they've been that. I mean, I feel bad because you're right. I mean, that is one of the great NFL fan bases in the history of the game. I mean, the Washington fan base is fantastic. That's a great football town. And thanks to, horrible ownership, Daniel Snyder and all the crap that came with him, they've been a mess for a really long time. And I was happy to see them get that win in front of 75,000 people at Raymond James Stadium, which
are you sure that's
would
the capacity?
I am. I Google searched it. It is one of the bigger stadiums in the NFL, unless you want to go back to history. At which point was the Louisiana Superdome a stadium that held 100,000 people, Murph? Tell me that.
The Superdome held 100,000?
Superdome, I think, used to hold 100,000 people. Those people were crammed in there. But now they've got all those jumbotrons and everything. I'm sure they blocked 25,000 seats.
Put in a bunch of luxury boxes, eliminated some seats.
And there's
It's
a
happening
reason
everywhere.
why that thing is still standing, right? And any stadium that's been up for a while now has been modified and brought up to speed. Lambeau Field doesn't look anything like it used to.
No, it's changed quite a bit. So the Commanders with rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, who's just been sensational, move on. The Vikings play the Rams tonight in Arizona. A lot of local attention on this. We all know some Vikings fans who really hope that this is the season, but now are concerned after what they saw last week. Vikings-Rams in Arizona tonight because of the fires in L.A., which I haven't watched any news today. Is that getting better? It must be that Iowa Hawkeyes flew out to L.A. to play tomorrow night.
I mean, as of yesterday, those fires were like 11 and 7% contained, respectively, which it's hard to imagine that the tables would have been turned. They're working really, really hard because the forecast says the winds are going to be back later this week. So they're trying. I mean, they've got fire crews from all over the country right now trying to help with that situation. But it's. Have you seen some of the video of what happens when those winds kick up?
I have.
There are burning embers that carry a mile.
I watched something the other day, and I thought, this is the most incredible video I've ever seen, and it turned out to be AI. So now I have to be careful with that, too. Like, these fires, I can't believe it wasn't real.
I was watching KTLA's video. I assume that's real, but yeah it looked like a blast furnace.
And now here's why all television reporters like Andy should be careful before going live with dogs.
Received nearly $4,000 in protection equipment to ensure officer don't... До 8 плюс 9 градусов. Стоять! Иди сюда! Эй, стой! Стой!
So how are you coping with all the fame?
Jesus. It's going to stay dry through the weekend. What in the world is that?
Friday 14 does start to warm up nicely, though, as we get into the weekend.
For Leonardwood coming in at 0-1, that was what it feels like in Springfield.
Watch out for a little. Oh, okay. Hey, stop.
How are you? Woo! Live TV. How are you, buddy? It's not your turn yet.
Good dog, hey? Yeah, you've done some emotional support.
Her tummy and waist were as soggy as paste. It was worse on the place where she sat.
Oh, those guys in Australia are so funny. I love that show, that morning show there.
Remember when Hassel's dog came into the newsroom and just dropped a big deuce and one of the producers rolled over it?
Yeah, the producer went and told the teacher.
Yep.
Went up and told HR.
That was the end of dogs in the newsroom.
Actually wasn't the producer. It was the guy. The guy was running. He was later a producer, but he was running floor cameras.
Thought it needed to run that right up the flagpole.
Yeah. He was really angry. I do remember one time we would bring our dogs in on the weekend, and Archie, my American Bulldog,
big dog,
got out of the sports office. I had him blocked in there. He got out while I was up there doing the sportscast, and he came up onto the set and put his head up on the desk, and he got in like the last 5 seconds of the newscast.
That should have been on that reel that we just showed. Confluence, official beer of Murph and Andy. Confluence, where good things come together. My update on where did I have Confluence this weekend was Bubba. Sat at the bar with Jenny and had a Confluence Des Moines IPA.
I had a Des Moines IPA on Saturday.
Good beer.
Here,
is that their most popular beer?
I don't know exactly what their most popular beer is. It seems like it might be
on tap everywhere. Seems like it is. We'll get an answer on that. Texas, Ohio State Friday night was a really good game. Both semifinals were terrific. Now, Texas loses this game 28-14. Ohio State wins this game 28-14. It was closer than that. And I mean, if you just looked at the score, you would think, well, I'm not surprised. Ohio State, that's what I was expecting. But that goal line stand and then lifetime Buckeye Jack Sawyer takes that ball 83 yards on the fumble return for a touchdown. Felt like it took him a couple of minutes to get there. That ended the game for all intents and purposes. And Ohio State will play Notre Dame next Monday. Wish they'd play this some other time than these Monday nights, especially the kids who want to watch. This game will end after 10 p.m., 11 p.m. on the East Coast. But no SEC. And the Big Ten went 5-1 versus the SEC in this postseason. The one loss, Andrew, was who?
And well, the Hawkeyes. Yeah, the Hawkeyes. Thanks. Appreciate that. I was going to say.
I don't know why I'm picking on AD today. He's so nice.
Monday, and I'm just Indiana's 2 losses this year. Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Yeah, there's some people at the ESECPN that have some apologies that need to come toward Indiana, or at least some acknowledgement that those two losses look pretty good now when you go through this tournament, and Notre Dame and Ohio State are the last team standing. And gosh, Ohio State, other than Michigan, has just clearly looked like the best team. But Indiana's losses are to Notre Dame and Ohio State. So the Hoosiers belonged.
Yeah, they did. This, and that was, you're right. I mean, that game was a really good game. It looked like Texas was driving and getting ready to put themselves in the point where they could tie up that game and maybe send it to overtime. And just a crazy play goes back the other way. And then just Ohio State. Oh, man, those guys, do they celebrate in a stadium? They know how to do. They've been in that position so many times. They ought to have it down pat by now, but God, they were going nuts.
They nuts. You can only imagine.
Ryan Day. I mean, every time you see that guy celebrate on the sidelines, it looks like he just passed a kidney stone. He's just like, oh, God, thank you. I mean, he's just looks so relieved at the same time he's excited.
Does he dye that beard, or does it somehow just grow out that black?
Why is he funny looking? Like, tell me why.
I think it's the beard is just too dark. It looks
he's also got like some murderous eyebrows, right? I mean, if there's a stalker out there that looks exactly like him, wouldn't that kind of fit? I mean, he looks sinister, kind of.
Yeah, he's like the coach on Friday Night Lights. If the coach on Friday Night Lights had a secret double life. Day just, he does look menacing. He looks a little bit like, one time I grew a beard and it had a bunch of red hairs in it because my grandmother had red hair, and I hated that, but it was at a time where if you could grow facial hair like I could, you had to do it. So I took my mom's L'Oreal or whatever that crap is called, and I combed it into that beard, and it came out looking like Ryan Day's beard looks. It just that fake, almost like you glued it on for a sketch.
Yeah, do you think he dyes his beard?
I don't know. It's something about it looks off. I don't know.
He does. He looks. This guy's saying Ryan Day kind of looks like the new Kenny Rogers. There was Kenny Rogers, and then there was the new Kenny Rogers, who didn't look a whole lot like the old Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, they look like different people.
So does Ryan Day look like he's had some work? Is that what he's saying?
I don't think it looks like work.
He looks like the Kenny Rogers after he had some work.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something off about that beard. But look, who am I to talk? My hair is standing straight up on one side of my head. Mark Gronowski needs surgery. We learned this after Iowa goes and gets Gronowski out of the portal from South Dakota State, where he was fantastic for 4 years. Led them to a couple national championships, National Player of the Year. Also, The Athletic reported that Miami had interest in Gronowski until finding out he needed surgery, which appears to be his throwing shoulder. We don't know for sure. No one has confirmed that, but that's what our friend Zach Borg, the Iceborg, who knows Gronowski and covered him, thinks it was. So I don't know. AD, we'll bring you in as the fan here. Do you feel any level of deception, or what's your concern? What do you think?
Not deception, but there is that, okay, can we have anything nice as Hawkeye fans, especially at the quarterback position? Because I Gronowski will probably be just fine, and he'll come in and, he'll join the team in June and have all of that. But a bonus of this was, hey, he'll be there in the spring. I talked about it when we talked about this last week, that last year Iowa's number one quarterback in spring practice was Deacon Hill. And this year you've got Gronowski going up against Brendan Sullivan and these young guys coming in, and how much better that's going to be, and how he's got 8 months to learn the offense and work with Tim Lester, and just none of that's true anymore. And so there is that, hopefully it'll be okay, but it is like a pump your brakes on the excitement about this, because who knows? And we went through this with Cade McNamara. He was injured both springs that he was in Iowa Hawkeye, and so
that's a big part of the concern. Your flashbacks
Yeah.
to Cade McNamara.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And so yeah, it sucks when I saw this Friday, late Friday afternoon. My wife, even, we were like getting ready to take the kids out to like dinner, and my wife was like, "Is everything okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, Mark Gronowski's having surgery." She's like, "Oh, okay."
Who is Mark Gronowski? She followed up with.
Did the collective know about this?
Haven't said, but I assume the collective knew and the coaches knew, because it doesn't seem like South Dakota or like Gronowski was hiding it. Miami knew, according to the reporting by The Athletic. And
did the collective share that information as they were asking people for more money?
No. So I
See,
guess
I have a problem.
know.
I have a problem with that. If that didn't, I mean, I understand why people would be annoyed, because from what I understood, there was a great big
push.
call, a push
Yep.
to
There
raise
was.
money to get this guy specifically.
And you understand why?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I think if they were just upfront about it and were like, look, he's going to have some surgery. It's not a big deal. We think he's going to completely make a complete comeback. But we need to give him some money. I think people would probably understand. I don't think that they would have. I think they feel deceived now that they are finding out on the back end.
And again, just another big question mark at the most important position that Iowa just hasn't been able to get right in almost a decade.
And Zach Borg, who covered Gronowski for all 4 of his years there, said, everyone knew about the existing problem because he couldn't push the ball downfield in the end of their schedule, their late games. But it was the kind of injury where, as Iowa said in the release Friday, he didn't have to have the surgery. He could continue to keep playing, but he's not 100%. So they give their blessing to him having the surgery. And if he can't push the ball down the field like he used to, you want him to have the surgery.
Yeah,
but
he's not having a hair transplant. He's a quarterback, and it's his arm.
I
mean,
know.
he needed the surgery.
Yes, and this is a to be continued. If he turns out to be the best quarterback we've seen at Iowa in more than 5 years, none of this will be remembered. But if he's a bust like Cade McNamara was, this is just one more way it's going to be hard for the collective to raise money, because you've had Cade McNamara, you've had Caleb Brown, you had the Caden Proctor debacle, and now people who gave are finding out this guy needs surgery on the most important part of his body, which in his case is his arm or shoulder.
Yeah, I would totally understand if fans are upset about this, because there's no guardrails up. Their money has no guarantee there. You would like to feel like, you have a real good idea that you're going to get some return on your investment. And maybe you felt that way, but I don't, anybody that didn't know going in, and you don't want to feel as a donor like you got to do your own research, right?
No.
I mean, you don't want to feel like, well, before I write this check for, $200,000, I'm going to call Zach Borg in Sioux Falls and see what he knows about Mark Gronowski's health.
One final note before more, Andy. Tyson Fury announced his retirement from boxing today. No word yet when Fury will launch his comeback. Let's get some more.
But wait, there's more from Either Or Eatery and Patio.
Okay, Murph, you got any pictures here?
No, I did not go to
Okay.
Either Or this weekend.
All right.
It's a little bit of an upset.
Yeah, they're kind of back to normal there, but they've still got the outdoor tinsel decorations going, so it's still a very striking place. But man, they had a lot of people there on Friday. I'm sure they were glad to get into the new year, and it looks good. Check out Either Or if you haven't done that already. Tonight is the first full moon of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called the Wolf Moon, because wolves are likely to be heard howling at this time, according to the Old Farmer's Almanac, which must really be old. There haven't been wolves in Iowa for a really long time. They were all shot, poisoned, or trapped out of existence long ago.
You forgetting your G League team?
Talking about actual wolves, I don't think the wolf moon has anything to do with basketball. There are no wolves in Iowa, but there are some nearby states that have timber wolves, gray wolves specifically. Minnesota has almost 3,000 of them. Wisconsin has over 1,000 wolves. I've seen a wolf in Wisconsin and Minnesota. It's really cool. Michigan, all in the Upper Peninsula, has about 630 of them. And really interestingly, there is a national park in the middle of Lake Superior, out in Lake Superior, called Isle Royale. Really big island, and it has 30 wild wolves and a population of moose. Scientists like to study the population dips and rises there between wolves and moose. That's about 4,500 gray wolves in the Great Lakes states. It's the largest population in the lower 48. And there are 17 red wolves in North Carolina. That's a recent count. And 257, Mexican gray wolves in Arizona and New Mexico. That's where you find the wolves in the lower 48.
Red wolves, Arkansas State?
Yeah. No wolves, no real wolves in Arkansas, though. Always seems ironic that these results get released at the coldest time of the year, but global temperatures have shattered records for the second year in a row. Multiple government agencies announcing on Friday that 2024 was the Earth's hottest year in recorded history, surpassing the previous record set by the year 2023. 150 years or so recorded history they're talking about, but it was hotter than ever last year. A fitness club has produced a waterproof suit collection, which allows wearers, apparently there was a demand for this, I was not aware. It allows wearers to seamlessly transition from their workspace to the swimming pool and back again.
Wait, hang on. This guy who's wearing a suit is going for a swim.
You don't have to
get
change.
out and go back to work.
Just dives in, pulls, rips off a few laps. This woman is wearing some kind of a dress. Is that a hot tub? Gets into the hot tub, relaxes for a while, gets out again, and I suppose just dries her hair and goes right back to work.
This could be something WCI Pools and Spas starts selling on site in Ames and Urbandale. Like they have the business collection for clothing.
Clothing line.
Yeah.
That you could just wear right into the hot tub and out again, which is kind of tough. I mean, it's pretty cold right now. I was in the hot tub over the weekend. Taking off your clothes to get in there when you get some serious wind chill going on and it's whipping around, man, that's tough. Once you get in there, it feels good.
That's a
Look
lot
at this
of
guy.
chlorine too.
Do you want all that cloth around you as you're trying to swim though? What are you pretending you're on the Titanic?
In your suit as you go back to work?
Yeah.
People are like, you smell nice. You smell like somebody smells like a pool.
It smells like chlorine.
Yeah, what's going on? My eyes itch.
It's a strong smell. That is the David Lloyd Clubs. They've produced the garments following feedback from members who said they struggled to fit exercise into their busy daily routines.
But you can't, Andy, if you're wearing this suit, wouldn't the main advantage be you can just piss your pants?
I mean, it doesn't soak into the clothes. It goes down onto the floor, right? You are still wet when you're wearing these clothes.
But they just dry out quickly. I'm sorry. I'm fascinated.
The clothes are dry. Your body is still wet.
There
so it
can't
seems like
be
you'd
much
still
of a
have
market for this.
No, come on, man. From the BBC, the latest list of animals that kill the most humans each year.
Jeez.
We'll do these in reverse order.
Okay. These are animals that kill humans.
Kill the most.
So like sharks.
That's funny. That's the one that jumps out probably in most people's minds first.
But it's probably not that many people.
10 people a year get killed by sharks. 10.
In Iowa? This is worldwide, 10 people, that's it?
This is worldwide. This is the BBC reporting here.
Boy, Steven Spielberg did a number on us.
Wolves, always the boogeymen in so many stories. whether they're old Grimm's fairy tales or modern battles out west about reintroducing wolves and how dangerous they are. Wolves kill 10 people worldwide a year.
That's
and
it.
Think of it like Siberia, where there's wolves all over the place. Lions, you would think. I mean, all around Africa, going into people's camps. 100 people a year. Elephants, 100 people a year. The hippopotamus, underrated, dangerous animal. 500 people a year killed by hippos.
Wow.
Crocodiles. You ever seen like a Nile crocodile? Those things are gigantic. Or saltwater crocodiles, the biggest in the world down in Australia. Huge, vicious animals. 1,000 people a year killed by the mighty crocodiles. 2,000 people a year killed by tapeworms.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I wouldn't have thought of this.
10,000 people a year killed by freshwater snails.
Really?
I think they're pretty slow, but they'll get you. They pass disease. So do assassin bugs, which kill 10,000 people a year. The tsetse fly, I think that's how you pronounce it, another 10,000 people claim their dogs kill 25,000 humans a year, mostly by rabies in undeveloped countries, third world countries.
Really hurting that best friend rep, though.
God, man, they get rabies and they're so close to people. It's tough.
Cujo.
Snakes kill 50,000 people.
Now, see, that's an alarming number because snakes, I mean, it's not just Indiana Jones. A lot of people fear and hate the thought of snakes, and it turns out they're kind of deadly.
Oh, they'll get in there and bite you right in the ass. You don't even see it.
I don't want an ass bite.
The second most dangerous animal in the world to humans is other humans. 475,000 people killed by other people each year. And by far the most dangerous animal in the world to us is the mosquito.
Oh, sure.
Malaria, all sorts of other diseases passed on. 725,000 people killed by mosquitoes each year.
Yeah, they're
Meanwhile, last Sunday at church,
Your love is the secret that I find.
just a little off, maybe the monitor, something like that.
God's
Tough.
up there. Hey, let's cut this one short.
Ooh, yeah. This day in 1999, Michael Jordan retires again. He's done with the Bulls. That's his second retirement with the Bulls, but not his final retirement. As we all remember, he went to the Wizards, became a part owner. They weren't doing well, weren't drawing well, so he comes out of retirement, plays for them for a while.
Yeah, the Wizards, Jordan in a Wizards uniform just doesn't fit. Doesn't work. It's not as bad as like sometime we need to do that. Players who look so out of place in a particular uniform, like Jerry Rice as a Seahawk. Just Emmitt Smith as a Cardinal.
Yeah, Tony Dorsett, that Broncos uniform. Yeah, you're like, oh man, you wish you could have that back again.
Joe Namath, Rams.
Yeah, O.J. Simpson with the 49ers. This day in 1968, in the midst of depression and a steep decline in his musical career, Johnny Cash arrives to play for inmates at California's Folsom Prison. January 13th, 1968.
Wow.
The concert and the subsequent live album launched him back into the charts and redefined his career. So despite his outlaw image, Cash never actually went to prison, save for a few nights drying out in various jails. It was not his own experience, but rather the crime film inside the walls of Folsom Prison that inspired him to pen Folsom Prison Blues.
Great song.
He was, though, and you see this in the movie Walk the Line, which is a really good movie. He did correspond with people in prison. They would write to him, tell him how much they liked his music, and sometimes Johnny would write him back.
Nice. Yeah, Johnny's in A Complete Unknown too. He's Johnny Cash is in a few scenes there. He provides some comic relief.
Today's stupid criminals are from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
They worked in tandem last week. One began stealing some $500 worth of merchandise from a family dollar store in the city of Mulberry, which is kind of between Lakeland and Tampa, while the other created a distraction by taking a giant shit in the middle of the store. It worked. They both got away, though security cameras got really good face shots of both of them. Police are confident that they'll turn up at some point. Charges should be interesting. First of all, he stole $500 worth of stuff from Family Dollar.
That's
He
like
back
500
a truck
items.
into there. That's a lot to carry, isn't it?
And the misdirection is questionable. I mean, you talk about, hey, look at this hand. He's taking a dump. That's
I'll
their
distract everybody. You go steal as
go get
much
the
as
stuff.
you can. How are you going to distract them? Let me worry about that.
Yeah, I've got, but take an extra roll of toilet paper if you would.
Yeah, steal some toilet paper. I'll meet you out by the car. I'm going to need to use some of that. That's your more, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Andy. It is time now for Throwdowns.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Heartland Tire and Auto, Ankeny, Knoxville, Boone, and Creston treating you like family. Murph, the second-ranked Cyclones host number 9 Kansas before a trip to now unranked West Virginia. Should Cyclone fans expect a 2-0 week this week?
I wouldn't expect it. I think it could happen. I definitely wouldn't expect it. Those are two tough games. I think Iowa State takes care of Kansas at home. Road games, as we just experienced this past Saturday in this conference, are tough. And West Virginia under Darren DeVries has shown the ability to beat good teams. So expect no, but hope for sure. It's possible.
Yeah, doesn't it almost seem like the Kansas game is a better bet than the West Virginia game?
Yeah, you go on the road. Man, Iowa State hadn't lost at home in 2 seasons.
Iowa State fans will be so up for the Kansas game. It's hard to imagine them losing that game, but Kansas is always Kansas. But yeah, expect is too much, but I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Andy, Iowa has won twice since that blowout by Wisconsin, and they head to L.A. this week. Should Hawkeye fans now expect Iowa to make the NCAA tournament?
I feel like we have to stick with the expect is too strong a word. They should feel a whole lot better about it. I mean, they are rolling. I paid a little bit of attention to that USC-Illinois game over the weekend, and they look good.
They did.
Illinois did not, but I mean, still went to Illinois and won. They should expect Iowa to win. Almost, I don't know. They could probably expect them to win out at home. Maybe that's too much too. They should expect them to do well at home, but the road is still tough for them, I think.
68 teams make the tournament, so in year 15 or 16, whatever it is of Fran McCaffrey, fans should expect to go to the NCAA tournament. But this, I think we can see, is going to be a close call. I think Iowa's headed to the bubble, and we're going to be tracking that for a couple of months. There aren't quality wins yet. There aren't the quad 1 wins yet. Is there a quad 2 win?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Okay, they're going to have to stack up. They're going to have to get a couple of upsets in there, but I think we're headed to the bubble.
All right, Murph, now that we do our show from our houses, I wonder, you guys know the answer for me. Murph, are you wearing shoes right now?
Yes, of course. Here, hang on.
Well, I mean, do you always wear shoes in your house? I feel like...
Well,
okay, yeah,
shoes. That really looks painful.
Oh,
look at
gosh,
this.
I think I tore my sock.
Those Robin Williams socks there.
I'm impressed you get your leg up that far.
Yeah, jeez.
Oh my gosh, Jenny, if you're here, I just noticed there's a little Chihuahua dog poop down my shoes. God,
glad you had those shoes on.
Oh my God, Jenny, there's poop on the floor by my shoes.
Well, why is that on her to pick it up? Why don't you pick it up?
Well, I will pick it up. I'm just
Why does she need to be involved?
Because she spoils this dog too much.
She made the dog shit on the floor? She didn't do that.
No, this dog is treated like a little princess around here. Needs some discipline. God dang it.
Andy, are you wearing shoes?
Yes, I am. I mean, we are getting ready to leave for our other job right now, so I kind of have to be ready to head out. On Fridays, though, there are times where I'm not wearing shoes.
Yeah, that's your throwdowns.
All right. Thanks for that. I guess. Now I got to check the bottom of my shoes. Grimaldi's fan photos. Send your fan photos to Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com.
Look at those Grimaldi's fans.
Oh, yeah. Eddie and Kahala
there. Oh, look at that. Yeah, the Fales family went. That is that hot honey and pepperoni.
You loved it, didn't you?
It was really good. I will say I prefer the regular pepperoni. That's my favorite pizza. Bar none. It's the way I judge all pizza places. Yeah, look at that. We smoked those pizzas. We had 2 of them.
I'm a huge fan of that pepperoni with hot honey. But
yeah, it was really good. I just do. I will take the regular one, but what did they have on the other one? The other one they had the margarita, like the classic margarita with the basil on there. That was really good. A big salad. It was crowded. I wanted to throw this out there. At the bar, it was crowded, so we had to wait for a little bit.
It's a nice bar.
Which is no problem. Nice bar to wait. So we're at the bar, and there's it's mostly full, but there's a few empty seats sort of in between couples. Let me see what you would have had a problem with this. I wish you were there at the time I was thinking of you. This woman comes up. Uh-oh. First of all, I'm standing in one of the empty slots to order drinks. She comes up, taps me on the shoulder. She goes, Are you using this chair right here? I said, no, I'm just kind of standing in the open spot to get my drinks. She goes, well, when you're done, I'm going to take this spot. I said, okay. And so I get my drinks, and not only does she take that spot, she goes down the bar and asks everybody to move over multiple seats so that she can put several empty seats together and get her group to be able to sit down at the bar together.
It's a big ask.
It's a big ask.
I wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't
be
offended if somebody asked me to move.
No, not offended, but you're just like, is it really that important? But I mean, it's like every group probably wants somebody like this. Kind of the social assassin that just goes in there and asks the uncomfortable questions, makes the tough requests. But everybody moved. She carved herself out a spot there at the bar.
You got to ask for what you want. Usually you get it, but sometimes that's a big ask.
It was right in the middle of the bar, too, with the best view of the football game.
It is time for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We call it the AD Squared.
Powered by Game Day Men's Health. Check them out, West Des Moines, Ankeny, North Liberty over on the eastern side of the state. Get your consultation. They'll let you know what you need. I enjoy going in there each and every week. We mentioned earlier, the Bears have interviewed just about everybody for their new head coaching opening, their head coach position, including reportedly are going to interview Matt Campbell, and that brought crap back on sound.
I've got some good news. Crap is back.
Let's go. Heck yeah.
All right, let's get it going. Matt Campbell to the Bears.
Crap, 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 crap.
Hey. We take this seriously, or we find real jobs. You want a real job?
Didn't Campbell just agree to 8 more years at Iowa State?
Doesn't matter. These coaches do what they want. Why would Campbell be interested?
Aren't the Bears' uniforms black?
They're navy blue, dumb.
Focus.
Well, hold on. It's the Bears. Maybe they think he's Dan Campbell.
That's better.
Nothing can top winning the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
A Super Bowl?
A Super Bowl? Come on, it's the Bears.
Does anyone here actually think the Bears will hire Matt Campbell? He's not objective, but he is full of crap.
I see what he did there.
The bear
Good to-
lives. Where was
Good to
that
have
costume?
crap back together. The bear was hibernating all the way down in the basement with all of the tapes and videos we can no longer play.
Yeah, that is. He's an antique, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a veteran. Quickie poll results presented by WCI Pools and Spas.
If you could only have one for your basketball team, you'd take a conference title. Talking about for the season, the real conference title, or Final Four. 96% say the Final Four. Wow,
Boy, that is
that's
a
decisive.
lopsided vote. Those conference championships aren't worth what they used to be. It was like the thing, but it's going to change in football too. As I said, you think Oregon and Georgia are all excited about their conference
It
championships
means
right now?
something to win the conference. There's no doubt, and you get a banner out of that. It's just we put this. I don't know. Is it too much? Too much emphasis on the NCAA tournament? I mean, it just is what
fun.
it is.
It is fun. Thank you for being part of Murph and Andy. Happy birthday to Andy. And we appreciate you supporting Andy on his birthday and local media on Iowa Everywhere. Please like and subscribe. We're back Wednesday. We hope you are too.
I will see you guys. I got to.
Yep. Thanks, AD.